Hey loves, and welcome back. So I'm just showing you guys my hair. I have taken out those short passion twists that I previously had in my hair. So now we are going to just prep the hair to dye it. As you can see, I'm just dividing my hair into 3 sections, but you want to make sure that you do have 4 sections, 2 on each side, and then you also want to make sure that you are fully detangling your hair. So this is the hair dye that I'm going to use. I am using 2 different colors, and I'm also using volume developer. And here is a hair dyeing bowl, and I also will use a hair dye brush as well, and you'll need some gloves as well. So I'm just going to cut the ends off of the hair dye and pour them into the bowl. Cutting the ends off does make it a lot easier to pour the product into the bowl. So as I mentioned, I use 2 different hair dye colors by L'Oreal. They're called the L'Oreal Hicolors, and I use magenta and I use red. Those are the 2 hair dye colors that I used, and I mix them together. So it is 1 magenta and 1 red in this bowl, and I poured some 40 volume developer into the bowl. When pouring the developer, this is kind of like an eyeball situation, so you have to eyeball it, but you don't want the mixture to be too runny, so just make sure you are creating a nice good paste. So I have split my hair into an even smaller section, and I'm just going to use that hair dye brush, and I am starting at my roots and I am working my way down with just applying the dye. I'm making sure that I'm flipping my hair over and making sure that I am applying this hair dye everywhere, so you just don't want to miss any spots. And as a disclaimer, I am not a professional. I am doing this at home, but I have dyed my hair several times before, so this is not the first time. So along the way, I have, learned a few things. So once you apply it with the brush, you also want to make sure that you are combing that hair dye through each strand of hair. So just make sure that you are grabbing, just using your fingers and finger combing that dye through, as well as using the hair dye brush to apply the hair dye as well. And I've also learned that your hair can either be dirty or it can be clean prior to applying this hair dye. I've noticed that it doesn't really make a difference for me if my hair is dirty or if it is clean. So that is just up to you. If your hair is extremely dirty before applying this hair dye, then you may want to wash it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be washed. And I know you cannot see the back of your head, so if you want, you can ask somebody in your home or just ask a friend, anyone, to just check and see if you miss any spots, or you can grab a small mirror, look in the bathroom, and also check to see the back of your hair to see if you missed any spots. But you just don't want to miss any spots. You want to make sure that you are coating every single strand of hair with the hair dye. And I chose to use 2 different colors because I've watched several YouTube videos, and the color that came out after using 2 different hair colors was the color that I was going for, because I am going to do burgundy passion twists. They're going to be burgundy all over, so I wanted to actually dye my hair to match that same burgundy color. And in part 2, you will see those passion twists, and you will also see, the products that I use to get those passion twists as well. But I use 2 different colors, magenta and red, because as I mentioned, I've watched several videos, and mixing those two colors together gave me the right color that I needed to match the passion twist hair. But I also use 40 volume developer because my hair was really black, so I wanted it to lift. So also using 40 volume developer means that you are lifting your hair by 4 levels. So you can use either 30 volume developer or 40. 30 volume developer just means that you are lifting your hair up by 3 levels, and 40 volume developer means that you are lifting it up by 4 levels. So just keep that in mind when you are dyeing your hair. So as you can see, I didn't apply any Vaseline around my edges. I kind of just let the dye run on my skin, and it was easy to remove, so I didn't have a problem with that. So you can apply Vaseline around the perimeter of your hair, in the back, around your hairline, and your hairline in the back as well, but I didn't apply any and I was fine. And also I bought 3 boxes each of the hair dye. So I bought 3 boxes of the magenta hair dye, and I bought 3 boxes of the red hair dye. I did have some hair dye left over, but I did use all 3 boxes each of the hair dye. So in total, that was 6 boxes of hair dye. So you can basically say that I've covered about half of my hair, but this is where I ran out of the first box of hair dye, 2 boxes of hair dye, 1 box each. This is where I kind of ran out of that first box for each, and I had to make another batch. So I ran out of hair dye again, so we have used 4 boxes of hair dye in total, so I had to make another batch. I had just a small section of hair left, and that is why I say that you need about 6 boxes of hair dye in total. And also keep in mind that the hair color that you see from the dye now prior to rinsing is not going to be the same color. Keep that in mind. It is not always going to be the same color. Sometimes it will, sometimes it might, but that is just all a part of doing it yourself at home. So you do take risk. So just keep that in mind and you'll be good. And I probably should have applied the dye to my ends first instead of my roots first, because my roots do take a lot better than the ends of my hair. But you can also keep that in mind as well when you are dyeing your hair yourself. But this is just the way that I did it. This is my process, so I'm not telling you guys to do the exact same steps that I did. So if you want, you can apply the dye to your roots first. I mean, not roots, sorry, your ends first. So this next step is important in order to make sure that the dye takes on the first try. So I just kind of split my hair into those 4 sections, and what you'll see me doing here is I'm just blow drying that hair dye so it can actually stick to my hair and take a lot better. Heat allows for the dye to just absorb better into your strands. So I have that blow dryer on a high heat, high setting, and I am just blow drying that hair dye into my hair. I have not rinsed it out at all. I am just going to use that hair blow dryer to add heat, and then I also put on some foil sheets as well to trap that heat in. And I did this for 4 of the sections, as you can see here. And then I also ran my blow dryer over the 4 sections of hair with the foil on them for about 20 minutes, but I also let the dye sit in for an additional 40 minutes. So an hour is good. And these are my results. As you can see, my roots took a lot better because your roots, you know, you have body heat. So body heat is more closer to your hair, so your roots will take a lot better, if that makes any sense. But as you can see, there is a difference. My hair does look burgundy, but stay tuned for part 2 so you guys can see my burgundy passion twist. Thank you guys so much for watching.